Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Its-A-Mii here, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about revised Nintendo Switch cartridges. This is something that's been interesting me more and more recently, and I've been doing some more research, and I just wanted to talk about it with you all because I think it's so interesting, and once again, kind of a uniquely Nintendo thing where, you know, we see other platforms get updated discs and stuff where there's a little bit more content on the disc, but Nintendo has been really good about re-releasing their games, or like later prints of their games, having more content on the cartridge than it launched with. So what are revised cartridges? What am I talking about here? So basically, as you all know, we are in the modern era of video games where games get updates, they get patches, they get day one updates, they get updates down the line, they get paid DLC, free DLC. And Nintendo has been really good recently about re-releasing these cartridges with all of that content on the cartridge, which is really cool and really obviously important for game preservation, because if the eShop ever goes down or something, you know, years down the line, I don't expect it to happen anytime soon, these games will be complete on cartridge. Yes, you'll always be able to find the files online or whatever, right? Like, these games are preserved indefinitely regardless, but being able to have a complete copy of a Pokemon game, for example, a game that had paid DLC or even a free update, and have all of that content on the cartridge, or a game like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, where, you know, that game launched kind of broken and unfinished, but they fixed it up a lot later down the line with other patches. Being able to have that complete version of the game on a cartridge is just really cool, and it's certainly a niche of Switch collecting that I've been more interested in recently, that I've been kind of trying to learn more about, so I wanted to talk about it today. One of the Switch revisions that I want to get my hands on is the Switch Sports revision. However, I have a feeling they might do another one soon, so of course, Switch Sports initially launched without golf on the cartridge. There are revisions of the game where golf is on the cartridge, and they even updated the box art to include the little golf icon on the big box and like the regular case itself. I'm going to hold off though, because I imagine now that they added basketball, there's a chance they update it again with a new version that has basketball on the cover art, has basketball on the cartridge. So I'm waiting on that. The Pokemon games are super interesting to me. I actually don't have any of these yet, at least I haven't checked. Maybe one of the third-party games I own does. But a great example of this, I know, shout out to Late Grasser in my Discord server. He's been talking about a lot of the Pokemon games recently, which I think are inherently interesting because the Pokemon games have gotten so much DLC and so many updates on Switch that getting them content complete on the cartridge is just really cool as a concept. So, like, just for example here, Legends Arceus has a revision where the Daybreak update is on the cartridge. I mentioned the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl revisions where they have all of the updates on the cartridge, which fix that game. Very recently, actually, I talked about it in a recent video, and I guess as I recorded that, people had found this new revision. So if you're familiar with these bad boys, this is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with the Hidden Treasures of Area Zero. These released back in, I want to say, October or November of 2023, and the idea is it's just the base game and it has the DLC on the cartridge, except that wasn't entirely true because the Indigo disc wasn't even out. The second wave of Scarlet and Violet's DLC was not released when these released back in 2023. But recently, a revision has been found, a later printing of the game has been found that actually includes the Indigo disc on the cartridge. It has all of the Scarlet and Violet updates on the cartridge, which is just so cool and definitely something fun to kind of keep an eye out for. Keep an eye out while you're hunting for these revisions. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is another one where they released that Booster Course Pass all-inclusive copy that only had waves 1 through 5 because they released it before wave 6 came out. Very recently, people found a revision of that has all 6 waves on it, so definitely some kind of cool, interesting things to keep an eye out for. But how do you tell if a cartridge is revised? Well, basically, it comes down to the digits on the back. So, like I said, I don't actually have any on me, at least not that I'm aware of. So this is my Legends Arceus copy. It might be kind of hard to see on camera here, but as you can see, there's that string of characters there, AW7KA22 A000. Basically, what you're looking for is those last 3 numbers. So it'll be, this is a launch copy, so this is 000. There's no updates to this. This was the original copy of the game. But they have released subsequent versions of this game and later printings that have updated it to the point where the version you want, the most content-complete version of Legends Arceus, is version 003. And that's how you tell. It's just the numbers on the back. That's it. I'll have some links down in the description. There are a couple of resources you can use to really kind of figure out what games have updated versions. Now, Of course, if you know me, I mostly focus on first-party Switch, but there are a lot of third-party games as well that have gotten revisions. So I'll have a couple links down in the description. First up, this is a website that has a ton of third-party stuff on there, as well as games that just have not received revisions. Like, it just kind of tells you, like, hey, this game does not have a revision, just so you know. There's also this Google document that I believe a Facebook group put together, so shout out to them. It's a kind of a community effort testing all these games and letting everybody know, like, okay, these games have updates. But this Google Doc, or this Google Sheet, I should say, has every first-party Nintendo game and whether or not they have received a revision. And the green ones are games that have received revisions. The yellow ones are the ones that have not, or at the very least, they're the games that are not content complete as of right now. So for example, I'm looking at Super Mario 3D All-Stars. There was a version 1 revision of that game. However, there is still another update that released afterwards, so they never printed that game again. That game is not content complete on the cartridge. Now, I guess content complete it is, right? But I believe for that game in particular, didn't they add like some widescreen stuff for Sunshine? Maybe that's what that would be. Splatoon 3, not content complete on the cartridge, but Snipper Clips Plus, there is a revision that is content complete. Ring Fit Adventure, Princess Peach Showtime. Well, Princess Peach Showtime just hasn't had an update at all yet, and probably never will. But just looking through, I mean, basically every Pokemon game has had a revision. Pikmin 4 does have a complete on cart copy as well in America, and it also breaks it down by region, which is really cool. So if you want to get a truly complete copy, sometimes your only option might be a Japanese version or a European version, or if you're in another country, maybe it's the US version, right? This one's really crazy. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond has a 2 GB day 1 patch on cartridge for the version 5 revision. That is just absolutely crazy. So that's why it's important to have Nintendo re-releasing these games in the later printings, and it's important that they're doing this, because if you want to have that complete version of the game, they're actually offering you a way to do that, and they're not really getting any fanfare for it. No one really talks about this, and it is a very niche thing. Most people don't care. They don't mind having to download something, but the fact that they're doing it at all is honestly really cool to me, because it's such like a thankless effort. Like, it doesn't matter. Realistically, to most people, it does not matter. But for the collector brain, the people that want to have that complete experience on the cartridge, the people that are worried about when the eShop closes down in, 10, 20 years, whatever it might be, having it as an option is so awesome in my opinion. And hey, I guess the opposite could be true as well. Let's say you're a speedrunner and you want that broken copy of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. You can still find it. You can still find that launch copy 000 of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and just have that. There will always be a way to find a completely broken copy of BDSP if you, for whatever reason, want that. So to have these options is pretty nice, and having that 2 GB download on the cartridge as well is so important for Switch especially. It's not like on PlayStation and Xbox where the game installs to your hard drive. Switch cartridges just run off the cartridge. They don't need to install to your system memory. So 2 gigs as a download for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl would suck. That would be 2 gigs going onto your SD card. But having it on the cartridge just frees up more space for digital-only games, which is just great. And sometimes these revisions come out very quickly. I'm looking at this list. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, the remake that came out back in February, has an updates, I guess. My launch copy here, once again, 000. No patches on the cartridge. Even this game that came out back in February already got a revision to have the day 1 patch on the cartridge. So definitely take a look at this list if you're interested in getting some more complete first-party Nintendo games. Like I said, I'll have that link to that website down below that has a lot of third-party stuff. I also recommend checking out this Twitter account, Nintendo Revise. They do a lot of real-time kind of community updates on a lot of third-party stuff, of course, first-party stuff as well. So they're a great Twitter account to follow if you're just interested in seeing what games get revised later on. And I guess one of the final questions is, how do you buy these things? Luck. There's no way to tell, unfortunately, from the outside of a box. So, like, if you want to go and buy Pokemon Scarlet with all the DLC on cartridge, first of all, you have to find that in the wild, which already isn't super easy, I don't think. But also, then you have to buy the game, open it, and look at the cartridge. There's no identifying numbers or anything on the actual Switch game case, which is really unfortunate. It really, really makes it harder to kind of pursue this and kind of add these games to your collection. But that almost adds to the fun of the hunt in a weird way. So, you're just going on eBay. Maybe you look up, I don't know, Legends Arceus cartridge only, and you just have that as a safe search, and you're just hoping that someone posts the version of Legends Arceus cartridge only that has the Daybreak update on it. It's really hard to track these down. It's a lot of luck. It's a lot of just kind of, maybe you're gonna buy it, maybe you're gonna return it and try to try again later. It's very niche, and this is something that is not for the faint of heart, I would say. If you're really like dedicated to getting the most complete cartridge version of a Nintendo first-party game, or just any Nintendo Switch game in your collection, go into it knowing there's a good chance that you just have bad luck and you don't get the complete one. Like, there's really, unfortunately, no greater way to really hunt these things down other than, I would say, yeah, going on eBay and looking up cartridge-only copies and hoping that the pictures are good enough that you can see the numbers on the back. But even then, like, sometimes it's hard to see them, man. And yeah, I know some people are going to comment on this video being like, why do you care? Why do people care about this? Just download the update. And that's totally fair. Like I said, this is so, like, niche and for such, like, hardcore collectors that, like, I don't blame someone if they don't care. Yeah, it's nice having the updates for all these Pokemon games on the cartridge, but at the end of the day, doesn't really matter. Even 3DS games, you can still download the updates for, so I think it'll be a very, very long time before this really matters in the grand scheme of things. But it's one of those things where, if we're talking 15 years from now, Nintendo shuts down the Switch eShop, and you want to get a copy of Switch Sports that has basketball on the cartridge, which doesn't exist, by the way, at least not right now, but let's say a copy of Switch Sports that has golf on the cartridge, right? That copy inherently, in theory, should be a little bit more valuable, and it's going to be harder to find no matter what, because it's not the launch copy, there was less printed. It's just something very interesting and kind of unique to kind of hunt down if you are a hardcore Switch collector. So I wanted to talk about it in this video because I've been, as I've kind of rounded out a lot of, like, the unique titles in my collection, this is something I've been looking more into to kind of, like, maybe finalize some things. I'm not sure how much I'm really going to go for. I would like to get the Pokemon games, like I said, Switch Sports, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with all the DLC would be cool to get. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Have you been collecting these revised Nintendo cartridges? I know it's definitely growing. Like, the community for this is definitely getting bigger and bigger, I would say. As the Switch is starting to kind of wind down, a lot of Nintendo games are kind of launching content complete now, but they're printing games from 2018, 2019 in more complete forms as they keep selling them, obviously. So I would say this community is growing pretty steadily, at least from what I've seen. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you have any other tips for how to identify a revised Nintendo cartridge, drop them down there for me, but also for other people perusing the comment section of this video. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch collecting updates, all that fun stuff, discussions, collecting videos, tips, all that, right? And follow my other channel at Botox Games. Follow me on Twitter at Botox Games. And until next time, folks, peace.